journey living and serving with our Brahmin family. Welcome, dear angel, Brother Can.
Ah, now the microphone is open. Yeah, Om Shanti, Sister Bhumi, Om Shanti, Didi, Om Shanti, everyone. It's been so wonderful for me to be being able to connect up with you, even though it's 10 p.m. here where I am. And it's like all of you, so happy to get news from Shantivan. When Didi was describing, sharing the news there, I felt that I was there. I sort of seeing all of these crowds, people coming there to get their sustenance. Soon we'll be going also, in February at least. I'm still in our retreat center here in Argentina, and today was the inauguration for the public. And tomorrow I'm off to Mexico for some other programs there. But I loved, here in the nature, it's so quiet, especially down with Belen. I loved how Bubba was mentioning in that extract from the Mori about him waking us up with his love and having a heart-to-heart conversation with us. And we must remember that that's probably the number one experience I need to have if I want to change my sanskars, if I want to change the order of the sanskars, because we've got all of the sanskars. We've got the Sattva, Raja, Tama sanskars all at the same time. And we have to, with Baba's help, access the original and eternal ones, the original ones from the beginning of the golden age. The eternal ones they're my qualities that are there. Eternal means forever. So I have these qualities forever. The problem is that they're not accessible, especially if my consciousness is somewhere else, my awareness is something else. And so I was interesting today. I talked to many BKs because we're in the middle of a retreat here. And I was remembering how, well, Didi said also we think too much, but I remember a meeting in the history hall with Bapdada in the late 70s after the Moli. If there were any foreigners around, he would always meet us or as a group. I remember once he gave his long drish and he said, "You people think too much." And it's true. Just talking to people today, I can see how it's so easy to get caught up in our own sanskars and then caught up in other people's sanskars. So this sequence of programs is about living and working, serving with other BKs. One thing we have to avoid is thinking too much, and one thing we have to avoid is getting caught up in other people's sanskars, because what happens is I have this group of sanskars in me, and the other person has similar sorts of sanskars, and they get hooked together. And of course, that creates some sort of, as Baba said, some sort of a clash. It's a clash between my impure sanskars and the impure sanskars of someone else. And so this whole story of the battle between purity and impurity that Didi was talking about, as purity is the mother of peace and happiness, it's impossible. If I don't really cultivate these sanskars of purity, I won't be able to get along with others. I remember Daddy Guzar even saying to us, if you really want to be pure, you have to understand how impure you have become. There has to be some sort of a contrast. I have to want to become pure. Therefore, I have to understand that it's not a great thing to be impure. In golden age, in the Iron Age, we have become quite used to being surrounded by impure sanskars in other people, in the world around us, even in ourselves sometimes. And so I have to really desire, the Daddy Kusal was saying, I have to really desire to become pure. I really have to desire to get out of the descending stage and get into the ascending stage, as Baba says. So with that in mind, I have to, I guess, as I said before, the number one tool for us to sort out our sanskars is interacting with Baba. I have to be very honest. I have to be very clear. And in meditation, once I was conducting a retreat a workshop in Madhaban with married brothers. There's a time when they had retreats for bhattis, for single sisters, for married sisters, mothers. They had retreats for married men. They had retreats for single men, like Kumars and so on, all sorts of retreats. So there was one group of fathers, not mothers, group of fathers. And there was a brother he asked a question. I've been in Gyan for 11 years, and until now I haven't seen the golden red light of Paramda. And I said to him, I've never seen it myself. It's not something, I don't have a sort of visual experience in meditation. It's not necessary. So it seemed to me, and as I talked to him later on, it seemed to me he was making a lot of effort to have a sort of a visual experience. So it's not necessary. All I have to do is experience Baba's loving presence. Now, if I see the avyak form of Brahma, that's one thing, but if I don't see it, I can feel it. So meditation, and this is, I went to Daddy Janki in Madhaban, I said, Daddy, I think that people are not learning how to meditate properly. And so what we have to do, first of all, to meditate, which is the number one tool for changing sanskars, if I'm dedicating time to it, especially on Mikvela, when I'm in a place like this, it's really absolute pin drop silence here. Because it's just surrounded by nature. There's nothing else except nature here around us. There's no nearby properties that you could hear noises. You can't hear the sounds from the street, from the road outside. It's absolutely quiet, especially in Amrit Valley. So I should make the maximum use of the time that I have. So I'm dedicating time to meditation. So I should get the best out of it. I should organize myself and prepare myself for the meditation. It seems that if I prepare for meditation, I always have a better experience. So if I just sort of go straight into it, then I have to do a little bit of extra work. But I can have any sort of experience with Baba, but especially with this homework from the Avyak Parivar, what we have to do is to get in touch and access our ancient past. You have to access our original eternal sanskars and make something of them. And so the first step, I have to learn to detach. There's no way around it. I'm the soul. I'm not the body. So that's the logic of going beyond the body. Unless I become soul conscious, I can't go into a state of meditation. That's probably first lesson, isn't it? But I have to detach from the body and therefore the senses and the objects around me, the sounds. And it's not just detaching from the things that are physically happening around me, but detaching from the body and the senses, detaching from any memories of sounds or any memories of images that are recorded in me. So I become totally soul conscious. I go beyond the body. I go beyond the roles because I'm the actor, not the roles. And I go beyond the story that I've been living, because body consciousness is associated with this life, with this body, with this one. I'm not body conscious of my previous body, it's this one. And so it's all related to the thoughts that are connected with the story that I've lived since I was born, and this happened and that happened, and I was here and I was that, and then I came into Gyan. So that long story, I have to go beyond that as well. And that's like detaching means just to turn off all of those things. And at the same time as I'm turning off all of these connections with the world, I'm connecting with Baba, and Baba is just in front of me, just beautiful, shining Baba. He probably is using the subtle form, but I don't need to see anything. I just have to feel close to Bapdada. And I have to feel close to Shiv Baba also. He's there in front of me, right? And so I connect. And in connecting, I start to pull out of myself the best sanskars. And in fact, that influence is such that even the other sanskars of other people, which are connected to my impure sanskars, if I'm worried about someone, for sure, it's my impure sanskars which connected with the impure sanskars of the other one. There's a sort of a connection there between my sanskars and the sanskars of the other, and they create friction against each other. And Baba calls that a sort of a clash. And a clash doesn't need to be just in words. It can be happening at the level of thinking. But just by being in front of Baba, all of that sort of clears away, like the sun moves the clouds away. The clouds disappear. And there's just me and Baba and no one else. And then I can start to interact, the third step. So the first step is to detach. Second step is to connect. The third step is to interact. And the interaction is this heart-to-heart conversation. And I should have something to talk about. For example, today's Muli. You are the ancestor souls. The ancestor souls are not just our daddies and our dadas. We are also ancestor souls because we are in the trunk. We are of the lineage of Brahma Baba. We are together with him, and we have that part throughout the cycle. So we are the ancestor souls. So it's an incredible topic to talk about in a heart-to-heart conversation with Bapdada. So if there's something I don't understand, I can ask Baba. I'm not asking for power and asking for peace. I'm just saying that, Baba, I'd like to understand this better. And the whole essence of meditation practice is, as Didi was saying, we have to understand, but we have to experience, understanding and experience, understanding and experience. So I have this heart-to-heart conversation with Baba. Could be about any topic, could be about this whole topic of purity that Didi was sharing about, how purity has to be there if you want peace or happiness, or the whole battle between purity and impurity, which sort of plays out, and how essential it is for any of the virtues to have that purity, to make our virtues that are merely human, make them divine, they have to be purified. My virtues have to be purified. So I can take up any such topic. And it's useful, at least in the beginning stage, to write down what I'm going to talk about in my heart-to-heart conversation with Baba. Write it down, this is something I can bring up, this is something else I can bring up, this is something else I can bring up. And have an idea of what it is that I want to understand, what it is that I want to experience. And Baba's more than happy to give me the experience so that I can go to the fourth stage of meditation, which is becoming, which is the homework. I have to become those original and eternal sanskars. I have to become like I was in the beginning of the golden age, or I have to become like I was in the soul world. So I can use the step-by-step practice, detaching, then connecting with Baba, then interacting, a heart-to-heart conversation, and then I can become one or the other of my original qualities, one or the other of my eternal qualities. So this, we've written down these homework pieces, but I have to make that real for myself. It's not just a question of reading and writing, right? The points themselves are great, but how many times does Baba say to us, don't just write down the points, become the point. Become the point that you're writing down. And Amrit Vela is the very best time to do all of this experimentation. Because we're free, especially if we're in a place that's sort of outside of the city, like where I am now. It's so quiet and so peaceful and so appropriate to be interacting with God in such an atmosphere. And what's Baba's role? Baba's the purifier. I don't purify myself. I have to allow Baba to purify me. So as he purifies me, he brings out my very best sanskars. He brings out my original and eternal sanskars. And so the whole idea of meditation practice, I have to get it right. I have to get it right because it's the only time I can do it in the whole cycle. I have to learn how to detach. I learn how to connect with Baba. I have to learn how to interact in a heart-to-heart conversation. I have to learn how to use Baba's presence to become one or the other of the original qualities. So let's do that now. Let's have some meditation in which we are just reviewing those steps. Okay, can we have some music and a meditation?
तुम्हारे प्यार
Oh, Shanti, everyone. See you soon.